uh, the not discomfort, but the uncertainties and all of that that's mixed in with it. It might have been big 40 years ago. It might have been big 30 years ago. But in '86, when we wrote on our thing, that it's a big victory that them stealing our stuff in '86, stealing our the stuff here, notebooks and all that, just a notebook. If they steal this, it wouldn't make no difference. I got all this stuff here in another place that I put in there. And if they get both of them, we got it all on CD, DVD, and we got some here, some there. And do we have to get them all? No, if we got 10 CDs and DVDs over the whole period, we would have it all. Why? Repetition and keywords and all of that stuff. So we have actually, like we said, we done caught Boss Man in the headlights of history. And he paralyzed. Look at him all over, everywhere he go. Look at U.S. policy right now. Look at U.S. policy. Okay, in this hemisphere, you just having a meeting, he tell everybody, okay, we don't want them to come. We don't want Venezuela to come. We don't want Cuba to come. And everybody said, well, you keep your meeting. Even Mexico said, bump y'all, man. What do you mean? Why should we be there if our homeboys can't come? Right? And the U.S. is looking stupid, right? Right now, well, I haven't listened for the last few hours, but their whole policy that they have for Russia, right? Their whole policy, what is it? Let me see what the ruble did. They wanted yeah, okay, well, right now, the last I heard, it was the Russian ruble. It started out at 1 ruble, was 85 something or other. A whole lot, a lot of it wasn't worth nothing. And now it's 1 ruble and 53, whatever it is. So they had capital control. They got control of that. They put their plan in place, and it's working. And even in the lying news, they can't lie less, but they have to explain. First, they're killing Russian generals, they're doing this, that, and another, and it'll be, and this guy going around with a T-shirt on he's a tough guy. Everybody love him. And Europe, EU mean caves and hillsides, and rope is a rope to bind in. But anyway, that's what it's looking like now. Europe, okay, the other day, I guess it's still going on. I don't know what happened today. When we was here Friday, they had a strike.
I know as of yesterday, they were still striking.
The rail strike, right?
I don't know about today, though.
But are they having a rail strike? For all kind of reasons. And they ain't one thing can slow it down. Okay, they wanted everybody to be against Russia, and silently everybody is on Russia's side. Because after colonialism, when they broke up all the countries, when they tried to make a country, well, when they make Sudan, that in the old days, Sudan had 10 borders, They just drew a line down the map. So the people on one side, it's not the way geography works, but that's the way European geography works. So all the people in Africa know about these artificial borders and what have you. And so they sympathize with border warfare because they have it every other day. So if anything go wrong, like right now in Ethiopia and Eritrea, whatever, if one thing go wrong, they just right back up to the other old border and start fighting. Until everybody's tired, but they still do that. Okay. So this Taskia, not Taskia Bilnas, but Taskia in goal setting, mean we as a people, and if it's Africa, it's Africa, if it's the world, so we're trying to go somewhere. Okay, in order for us to get there, what type of plan are we going to have? What type of policies are we going to have? We have to, Taskia and goal settings mean that you try to purify your goals so that the things that you do to get to those goals are also cleansed. That don't mean it's going to be perfect. You're going to do a few things that's a little shady. But you're going to do 89% of them that's in line with cleansing and becoming better. That's at a high enough level to where nothing's going to go big time wrong. The United States don't do that. They want to straighten up the border. Well, if they had a Marshall Plan for Europe, and they said, well, what we'll do is we'll send all money down there, over there, and we'll rebuild Europe. And they did. The Marshall Plan. Anybody ever heard of the Marshall? It's in history. Yeah. But in South America, they want people to stop going across the border, but they're going to have all the monies in America. You're not going to have any money down there. That don't make no sense. Therefore, you can't solve the border problem. Instead of fortifying that border, you send all that money that you use, just send the money that you're using to protect the border. Send it down there. And make sure the poor and the medium people get it. They can open little shops and stores, right? And you're sending enough money down there that they can spend money down there and do well, and they don't have to come up here. It's too simple. It's too simple. It's like you don't get that, boss man? No, boss man bites the dust. Now, we said it a long time ago, but boss man has no policy of recuperation, of cleanliness, of purification, of anything. All he has is a policy of buffoonery and clownery. And that's why we clown him. We clown boss man. We say, you don't deserve. We're not mad at you. We don't get mad at all the mean stuff boss man do. We don't get mad. No sense. Just clown him. And that's what we're doing. Every time we come up, we just clown boss man. And I want you to imagine, how does he feel when everything we say up here over the years come true next week, a week after, a month later? Simple. He tried to cut us off for travel, and you know what I started using? The doggone phone. So instead of going down to Martin Luther King Library, which I used to love to do, and I would go through there, and first I'd go down this row and I'd pull out a book, and then I would go through them, and then I would come back with a stack of books. And I would read them. It was helpful, very helpful. But to tell the truth, I don't imagine ever having to go to Martin Luther King Library again. A simple phone. If I want to research, if I hadn't heard something about post-traumatic, whatever we call it, post-growth, all I do is type it in the thing. I can do that much. And I sit there and I get article after article after article. Not only old articles, but the ones that came out 2021 or early, all the stuff. That's why our analysis is getting more accurate than years ago. These analyses now are pinpoint accurate, and they're time specific. Some time ago, you would take years for it to develop. Now, it's so time specific, it only take, it's almost right there. Why? Can you imagine that from every university and every program that they have in the world, just about, on a certain subject. Now, take a subject that you know a lot about. But you can hear all of their experts. Just sit right there and listen. Do a little exercise, drink a little coffee, and listen. And take notes. And then, if they mention something, you could push another button and the doggone thing will pop up on your phone and you can go down and print it out. Not an old article from 10 years ago, but from February 2022, right? And if you want to hear about Asia, what happened, y'all see how this stuff works. Y'all was actually trying to turn me on to it years ago because I would just refuse. I mean, my kids would say, Dad, you don't have to take those CDs. You could just get all that stuff on your phone. And I was trying, believe it or not, this is just a year or two ago, I was trying to imagine, how could I get all of that stuff on the phone? Even though they showed me, they said, see, look, watch this. And if I want to see something on TV, I can get it on the phone and put it on the TV. I said, that's magic. That stuff don't work. You can't do that. And then they do it in front of me, and I still, living in another century. And they would tell me, Dad, now I was doing good going down to Martin Luther King. This is years ago, getting old books, because anything old, the latest book that Martin Luther King has got to be 5 years old. The latest. They got to print it, they got to get it out. You may get something 2020 if you're lucky. But you're not going to get a last week's study. The doggone telephone had and it has how long this is. A lecture, you see how it show you? This lecture is 3 weeks old. And now when I want to learn something, I don't even listen to the ones from last month or so-and-so gave a lecture 3 years ago. I don't want to listen to that old raggedy stuff. That stuff is old. It's good, but it's old. I'm telling you, it's just ridiculous. So just updating yourself means that I don't have to have a car running. If I want to go somewhere, I can drive one of them that still works a little, whether it squeaks or not, or I could just go. I don't need to go. I used to go by, man, you ought to see all the books I got in different places. I would buy all the old books, because when I go to the library, there's a library used to be over on in Maryland, out by Georgia Avenue, and they'd have a whole section on used books. And I'd go out there. I got tons of. That's how I got books. I would take it easy, control yourself now. Count to 10 or something like that. No, that's okay. But anyway, I would buy all of those books, used books, and I would read them because strategic management. I want to read all this type of stuff, and I'd read all of that stuff, and I still have all of that old stuff around. But I don't have to do that anymore. I could just type in strategic management 2022 or 2021, and all right.